Hey there, Browns fans. We are almost to 1,500 subscribers. So if you guys want more videos on the Cleveland Browns, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. We're talking trade here on the Cleveland Browns Report, beginning with, hey, could Xavien Howard be a trade target for the Browns? Now, mostly floated out here by Bleacher Report. We'll get to their trade in a second. They've been linked to Howard due to some reports, but they aren't the most credible ones, so it's really more speculation than hard reporting here. This would be a very aggressive and interesting move, is what I'll call it if you're the Browns. So first, here was Bleacher Report's trade idea. The Browns, well, they get Xavien Howard, duh. The Dolphins then get a 2022 second and fourth round pick, and they also get cornerback Greedy Williams. So who do you think says no to this particular trade idea? We'll go more in depth on it, obviously, but I want to hear your votes first. Who says no to this trade idea? Type in B if you think it is the Cleveland Browns, or type in D if it's the Miami Dolphins. As weird as this might sound, I think there's an outcome in which it ends up being both of these teams ends up saying no. There are some potential issues here in a hypothetical trade. Now, Xavien Howard was one of, if not the outright best corners in all of the NFL last season. He was nothing short of incredible. Yes, he got targeted plenty of times, but he allowed only 4 touchdowns, and of course, most importantly, picked off 10 passes and then broke up another 20. There's no doubt about it that Xavien Howard would represent a substantial upgrade over Greedy Williams. Now, he of course did not play in 2020, so that hurts his trade value, but in 2019, when Greedy was out there on the field, it was nothing special. 472 yards and a handful of starts, 2 pass breakups. He wasn't great. Now, I don't think the Browns are out on him, but they have supplemented their cornerback room. And this is why I think it starts to cause some issues for Cleveland in any hypothetical trade for Xavien Howard. You've got Denzel Ward. You just paid Troy Hill. Yes, you're moving on from Greedy Williams, but you also just spent a first-round pick on Greg Newsome. So then is Newsome just a backup? And if that's the case, why did you spend a first-round pick on Greg Newsome if you were going to go out and try and acquire Xavien Howard? Yes, Troy Hill can play nickel, Denzel Ward can play nickel, but you're sitting one of those 3 if you were to go get Xavien Howard. And of course, you got to pay Xavien Howard big-time money. The way his contract is set up, at the time he signed it, it was a record-setting contract for cornerbacks. That's no longer the case. He's not even top 5 anymore. And now, I think Howard could maybe be asking for $18 million. That's a possibility there, even if you get him just in the top 5. The way that his deal is set up, unlike other players, and they've been traded in the past, his contract would not have much picked up by Miami. You would be paying him the vast majority of whatever new APY deal you gave him. If you gave him $16 million per year, you'd be on the hook for the vast majority of that. There was like less than $5 million total, I think, or $6 million total of what the Dolphins would owe him in a trade left on his deal. That's a bit of a problem in terms of the potential trade for the Browns, because not only would you be paying, in theory, Xavien Howard, you got to pay Denzel Ward soon, too. He's awesome. He's going to want big-time cornerback money. So all of a sudden, if you're Cleveland, you're stuck right where the Dolphins were at. You pay Xavien Howard, and then boom, just like that, you got to pay Denzel Ward, and Ward might get more than Howard, and now Howard's upset again, too. So I think because of the presence of Newsome, and more importantly, Ward, and to a lesser extent, Troy Hill as well, I don't really see how it's a great fit for the Cleveland Browns long-term. Short-term, yes, it helps you, but do you want to go all in right now? Probably not. So what do you think? My answer is kind of no here, but I'm curious what you guys have to say. Do you want to trade for Xavien Howard? Get your votes in for me. Type in Y for yes or type in N for no. Let's take a look at one player potentially on the roster bubble in Cleveland. That is Mack Wilson. A couple of different sites, Bleacher Report, Fan Sided, SB Nation, I think too, have mentioned and speculated, hey, this might not be the right year for Mack Wilson. Now, he thought a favor very clearly last season. And in this offseason, the Browns have brought in several additional options at the linebacker position. There aren't massive savings here, just under $900,000 if he were released or if they could find a trade partner. But if there's not a role for Wilson, Cleveland might try to move on. In his first year, 2019, Mack Wilson was a starter for the organization. Played 89% of his team's snaps, had 82 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, a sack, interception, 7 pass breakups. This year, though, his role was almost a non-existent one. 35% of the snaps, 39 tackles, major drop-off there, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass breakups. Mack Wilson was not involved, and even more so in 2020, struggled with what he struggled with in his first year, tackling. Mack Wilson has not been a good tackler for the Cleveland Browns. That's been a major problem for him. And now they have Jacob Phillips, probably to play some weak linebacker, and the roles will ebb and flow. Don't worry too much about the ordering here. You could even try to get Phillips some strong side linebacker reps if you want, or even Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who we'll get to more in depth here. But they bring in Anthony Walker. They've got Sione Takitaki. Maybe Malcolm Smith makes this team. Maybe they want to put Tony Fields, the Day 3 rookie, on the roster over another former Day 3 pick in Mack Wilson. So there's no guarantee that Wilson makes this team, especially for an organization that likes to use fewer linebackers, which I like, by the way. So predict this for me. Will Mack Wilson end up making the final roster? Get your votes in. Type in 1 for yes, he's going to, or type in 0 for no. Now, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah long-term is going to be a key part of this team. I loved where the Browns got him. I thought that was an absolute steal. I'm a huge fan of first-round grade. Some medical stuff helped cause him to slide down the draft board. But he's a good fit in the Browns defense for that almost light linebacker package that they love to use. They also brought over Anthony Walker, who has played more, at least especially last year, than Mack Wilson. And quite frankly, I think at this point, it's very clear Walker is going to have a bigger role on this team than Mack Wilson will. So we'll see exactly what the roles are defined there, but I don't think Wilson's going to start, which means he's fighting for his life on the roster. And I wonder if it could even come down to Sione Takitaki versus Mack Wilson. I know not all of you guys like Takitaki or Wilson, although one of their names is a little bit more fun to say. But there is a potential roster battle brewing here for Cleveland. I wonder if it's a race between those two young guys to carve out a potential role on this roster. I think Jacob Phillips, Anthony Walker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah are basically roster locks. That leaves, in theory, maybe 3 spots between Takitaki, veteran Malcolm Smith, rookie Tony Fields II, and Mack Wilson. So I'm not saying I'm out on Mack Wilson, but the Browns' decision to reduce his snap count last year and explore and bring in other players on the roster, I do think he's fighting for a roster spot this season.